we are going to talk about energy and calling in new things and what's the quickest way for us to receive the thing that we really desire. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, I have shared many different techniques about creating our reality. And one of the things that I have learned along the way that has been super important in the creation of the life that I want is to be able to receive it and have the capacity to have the thing come in. And also, it's being able to feel it real and have it be not just a vision, but feel the actual thing as if I had it now. And also having the space for it. And I'm going to break this up into a couple of different podcasts. But for today, I'm going to talk about feeling it real. And one of the things that Neville Goddard teaches is that the feeling is the secret. I found this out on my own, but when I came across his work, I'm like, oh, this is exactly what it is. So when you're trying to create any result in your life and business, it's all for the feeling that we are going to receive. And for some of you, I'm going to be sharing things that you've probably already heard, but you don't understand it this level or this way because I'm going to teach it to you and share it to you from my perspective. And for many of you that are listening, you're also going to identify yourself as a high achieving woman, a woman who's a high performer. So this will land a little differently for you. Now, as far as the emotions, this is the thing that I teach everybody. And for women who are predominantly in their masculine, and it's going to be a wounded masculine state, which is why they're always doing. And although you have the capacity to love or to be a mom, you don't really have the capacity to feel all your emotions in because you haven't been taught that. And it hasn't been something that's been easy. Also, it's been a trauma response for you not to feel. And when you don't feel, it's easier to go do and get things done. However, energy does not lie. People do. And so we pretend that things don't bother us. We become the ice queen, or we numb ourselves out with different things. We try to cope, and this is where we get into survival mode. So this is why I teach emotional mastery, because emotional mastery, self-mastery is money mastery. And when we can be our full authentic self, then we can go do all of the things. So being able to feel something is how we acquire a state of being. So this is why I always teach our beingness is really super important versus our doingness, right? And feeling it, it means that I'm going to embrace that emotion. I know truthfully, and I'm going to share a little behind the scenes of my life. I know that I have everything going on, all the things, except the man. And I have really raised the bar on the type of men that have come into my life and who I want and wish to date. Do I still attract those young pups? Yes, I do. In the 20s and whatever, 30s and all ages, to be quite honest with you. But I'm really being very selective on who I want. But I know that I can create and have anything I want. So I was sitting there going, where is the man? Like, what is it with me? Because I always know I'm the problem. I'm the issue. What's holding me up? And being able to feel what it feels like to have that end result is the thing that I definitely was having some resistance to. Again, this is going to be like a 3-part series. You're going to want to listen to the next upcoming episodes because I'm going to share with you a major breakthrough I had around this. Now, feeling it, like I was in a toxic marriage. I was with somebody who unfortunately didn't know how to master his emotions. And, it was a pattern that I had picked up with my father. Again, I'll save this for another episode, but I made some sort of like pact with myself that I was going to stay, single somehow, just because I had guilt leaving my marriage with my children. And I wanted to make sure that they were emotionally stable. So being able to feel that end result, it was getting a little difficult. But as far as like when I manifested my G-Wagon, obviously I made the money for it too, but that you always lead with the thing that you want, and then the universe will move around, bring the clients in, bring the money in to satisfy it. But I remember distinctly that feeling of when I was driving it, what it would feel like. I wasn't even driving the damn car. I was driving a Hyundai from it was a loaner from Toyota. And I was like, ooh, this is what it would feel like. Cause I could get into the emotion of what it would feel like. Cause your emotions are what attract the reality to you, right? It's not actually anything that you're going to do otherwise. Like the visualization is there, but the emotions is the strongest thing that brings the end result to you. And this is why most women that I work with, like 99% of them, struggle with this. The doctors, the lawyers, the engineers, the very, very, very mechanical, masculine, single moms, the women that are there because they just know how to do. They're trying to solve a feminine issue, with strategy. It doesn't work, right? Because you have to use your emotions. So most of them are like me, where their hearts were blocked and they went into survival mode. And that's why they're so successful. So feeling it was easy. Feeling into I don't know if you guys ever saw the clip on Instagram when I said a year from now, $1 million, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to have $1 million. Well, guess what? $1 million. I cried that day when I said it was on my birthday. I felt the emotions, the elation of what it would feel like to have $1 million. And it happened a year from then, 2021, $1 million crossed my Stripe account because I felt it. I felt it. What would it feel like? And if you watch any of my YouTube videos, I kind of go into this technique a little bit deeper. So if I were you, I'd go subscribe and binge that if you want more of a how-to do this. But that is something that I teach deeply because a lot of women don't know how to get into the emotions because they've got resistance. An old story. I'm a pattern breaker. I know how to get to the root of your issue and break it. This is why I teach a program called Accessing the Quantum through Emotional Self-Mastery. I have every single woman, no matter if you're in my highest level mastermind or you're just joining me, in my 6-month Millionaire Club program. I have you go through that program because it is the game changer. We weren't taught as children to have emotions, right? We weren't taught to feel our emotions. We weren't taught that our emotions were safe. None of that. It was like we were giving, I wasn't given this, but other kids are given binkies, blankets, all these other things, don't cry, don't cry. Here's a lollipop, don't cry. It wasn't celebrated to feel your emotions. Then we've got the opposite where moms just letting their kids have total full on temper tantrums and they don't know how to self-regulate. So there's got to be an in-between there for us, right? And the emotions is what we need to feel. We have to feel it real as if it was done, as if it happened. And it happened for me around the guy this weekend. And again, in a couple episodes, I'll give you the deets on that. I don't even say deets. I don't know where that came from, but I'll give you the layout of that because I do believe the most beautiful divine relationship is coming for me, It's already here, right? It's just, I feel it. I feel it. I felt that he was coming, but I feel it real now. There was the emotion I had for the G-Wagon, for the $1 million, for the things that I desired. This is why I say if she can, I can. Because if I saw a woman with Cartier on her wrist and I was like, ooh, that would feel so nice. I would go energetic shopping. Again, go to the YouTube. I'll teach you how to do this. But I was feeling that into the realness of it. But when you are emotionally stunted and you have not been able to learn how to process your emotions or even feel your emotions and understand what your emotions are, then you're only using brute force, needing to wake up at 5 a.m., working yourself like a dog, exhausted, literally nonstop doing it to get the result that you want. Where I'm over here living a very blissful wake up when I'm done sleeping life and making millions. So this is what I try to teach women when they come over. If you understand the process that I can take you through, you'll break this patterning that you've got, and then you'll start creating new neural pathways and emotional regulation on how to create your reality. If you are not using that part, which most women aren't, you're literally cutting off your feminine. You're cutting off the thing that makes you a woman, that's your superpower. That's where we create from. So the emotions are key. Feeling the emotions, being able to have that. And people will say, well, I'm passionate, I feel. But I'll see if this woman's still liking posts and she's got a guard over her. I know women who, when they like a post, I'm like, oh, I can look at her and be like, oh yeah, well, she lost her dad early. Or she lost her dad recently. She doesn't really process her emotions. Oh, she lost her mom. Yep, I can see that. Or that marriage really kind of took her for a loop. She's having financial trouble. Ooh, she hasn't resolved that yet. I see it. I feel it. And people tell on themselves, right? Oh, she doesn't like to hug. Well, of course, because that's too emotional. That's too close. Vulnerability is also, weakness, showing emotions. That's not safe because they don't even know their emotions. They can't share it. Being very like controlling, that's so important because they have lack control within. The chaos has not been embraced yet. Where I'm like over here saying, messy makes me millions, because it really does, I had to give up that life before, and I had to master my emotions. You master emotions, and if you're running any kind of business, people want to feel you. If they can't connect with your emotions, it doesn't really matter. They'll come to go look for a solution, but if you want people to tell people about you, you want to have clients for life, you want to grow that connection, it is so important to master your emotions, to be in that state. I can feel into a result. And I always say we go backwards because the quantum field, I teach quantum. This is what I teach. The quantum field has the result in the life that we've already created. It's there. And when people say, well, I don't know why I want that, I'm like, because you already know you get to have it. We're just in different timelines right now, right? I know a little woo for some of you, but it really is. It's quantum physics. All I need to do is get you into a state of that future self, and bam, we got the connection. You've collapsed time. You've got your result quicker than you ever can imagine. This is me making $1 million the first time within such a short period of time because I quantum leaped that. And it is so important that you understand that it's there for you, right? It's just a matter of getting all that stuff away that's blocking you from having the collapse of time and bringing things closer to you. So the emotions is it. The emotions is it. If you have not grabbed my book yet, Unlocking the Quantum Woman, this is a good place to start too. Go grab that book. And if you haven't left me a review yet, please go leave me one on Amazon if you've read the book, right? Because if you read it, I know you'll leave me a 5-star because everybody has. It's going to start opening that up. A lot of the reasons why we don't have emotional mastery is because it's not safe to feel. We want to block ourselves from having any emotions that can make us feel weak or unstable, or it's the disappointment. It's hard. And, this is why people have certain attachment styles, like anxious attachers, or they're like cold, gosh, I forget what the other word is, but there's healthy attachment, but then there's avoidance. And it all comes down to our emotional intelligence. My brother and I were having a conversation today, and he's so in touch with his emotions. He is one of the most emotionally intelligent men I've ever met. He's a doctor, he's a medical doctor, and he's also a naturopath. And he's probably one of the greatest humans I have the greatest fortune of knowing. I want him to start his own podcast because I think he would change the game for men out there. I'm going to have him on our podcast. He's probably going to be the first man that comes on, and we're going to probably tape a series, and it'll be something good for your husbands or significant others or the men in your life to listen to. But one of the things that we talked about today was, a trauma response called fawning. And I had an awareness this weekend about it because we both had the same abusive father growing up. We're both grateful for it because look how we've developed from it, and we've really grown from that information. But the way that he can articulate and feel and understands people's emotions, I am so honored to have that type of man around in my life. And we've grown together. One of the things that we both have understood is that when you haven't mastered your emotions, you become a people pleaser. You become somebody who's not in their power. You become someone who has to pretend who they're not. And many women who have reached a lot of success, or other people too, they are seeking validation from others. So they're really not truly authentically themselves because they're like, look at me, look what I've done, give me the validation. But truthfully, that never fills that empty hole inside of you of the missing parts of where a fully developed emotional place can be, right? And that to me is peace. That's to me is the inner peace. It's the thing money can't buy. And I'm so grateful I've created tools for women to access this because there's millions of women that are walking around still in survival mode, suffering with their armor up, being the ice queen, doing things the hard way and not realizing there is another easier way to live and be in this lifetime. And it actually will create your reality and quantum leap you into your future self faster is if you learn to master your emotions. So work on this. I gave an exercise to my mastermind clients Go download like the emotional wheel and start practicing what your emotions are, like how you're feeling. Everybody has anger because anger is always the secondary emotion, right? It's on top. But the emotion below that is where we really get to the juice and the root of things. And trust me, anger is important because it shows us where we need to grow and there's something else there. And it's good to feel all your emotions. You have every right to feel everything, but it's like how you are the master of your emotions is how you're going to create the life that you really desire and love. And whether or not your emotions are going to run you or you're going to run them. And this is the missing link. And when I look at people's businesses, women especially, and I see how it's run or they're running their teams or everything else, I can go back to their emotional mastery because you are always the blueprint for your life and business. And if you are not emotionally mastered, your emotions are mastering you. That means you don't have power over money yet. Money still has power over you. Time has power over you. You don't have that freedom that you truly desire to be the woman, the person that you know that you can be and have a life that's so unapologetic that it's on your terms, right? It's when people are on the hamster wheel or they feel like they're like under the gun. And so there's this is the key. This is the key. So I invite you to go and do something that would help you be. Because when I say that, I mean like find the stillness, look for it. I don't know if you guys know a story about me being on the yoga mat, but if you haven't heard my story, I was searching for peace. That's why all the things and the accolades that I had achieved, and they were a laundry list of them, still did not make me feel what I feel today, which is peace. I have that now. I have this inner peace. I have this inner knowing, and I'm unapologetic about it. And that's the thing. That's the missing thing. 99.9% of highly successful people are searching for. And I've got the answer for you. You're listening to this podcast and you made it this far. And if you haven't started from the beginning, I would invite you to do that too. Also, if you really enjoyed this, please share this with somebody and go ahead and leave me a 5-star review if you feel like it, on Apple and Spotify, because it really helps our rankings. It helps people know more about this. It helps us change the world. Imagine someone not coming to you with their trauma and bullshit and like they're actually just coming to you as a human and you can feel them. By the way, you're going to get so much more empathic and psychic and all the things when you start doing this emotional work. I probably missed that part, right? You start connecting and feeling and getting divine knowings that you can trust, because right now you're intuitive, but you just don't trust it all the time because you always second guess it because your brain, that masculine protection goes in, which is false. You would be so aligned, always making decisions from the most fruitful, aligned place. Alignment is everything. But when you're not in emotional mastery, you are not in alignment. Okay, so that's today's episode. It's a little long, but it's going to be really good for you. Also, if you have not got the book, go ahead. And if you haven't bought a ticket to Chicago, we are having an in-person event in Chicago. You want to be there. It's in October. Go grab a ticket to that event. I'm also doing a 5-day fast cash frequency next week. I don't know when you're going to listen to this, but the replay is always up for it. But it's not going to be something readily available. And if you haven't joined the Quantum Woman group, you should. Again, I said, check out our YouTube. Go follow me on Instagram. Tag me on Instagram if you're going to share this episode. And go grab Unlocking the Quantum Woman. It is going to change your life. And if you're ready for some more guidance and you want to work with me, contact my team at support@shaminataylor.com and let's get you on a call and get you one of our programs and get you there. Quantum leap to your future self. All right. Stay tuned for the next episode, which we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the fawning, and you're also going to hear about my big breakthrough. All right, bye for now.